So we are here with our two co-chairs of this year's Federal Bar Association Qui Tam Section Annual Conference that'll be on February 28th and March 1st of 2019. Darrell Valdez, Assistant United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, and Megan Jeschke, a partner at Holland Knight. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me about the conference. And we've had a number of discussions about really what the theme of this year's conference would be. Megan, give us a sense of what the theme of this year's conference is.
Absolutely. So this year we really wanted to look at sort of what are the more complex or nuanced or perhaps more unique aspects of litigating, settling, evaluating these Qui Tam cases from all perspectives. So from the beginning of it and looking at subjectivity issues and when do we have particular claims available to us and when should we proceed, all the way down to the end of the case to when we're mediating, we're dealing with ability to pay. And the theme on top of that, there's a theme within a theme of we're going to have several panels that talk about all these nuanced topics, and then we're going to explore those at the end through the lens of the opioid crisis and sort of where do these themes fit in within a case that perhaps involves fraud in the opioid space.
So really, the 2 days, it's structured in a way to kind of take advantage of those complex topics at the outset.
Absolutely. So each individual panel is going to deal with one specific topic, and I think, Darrell, you can share a little bit more about how each panel is going to be set up, but within each panel, we're going to talk about one direct topic, and you're going to have experts, you're going to have defense counsel, you're going to have Qui Tam counsel, and you're also going to have representatives from the Department of Justice and agency there sharing on each of those topics. And then at the end, we're also going to bring in some subject matter experts relative to the opioid issue to sort of play and explore those issues that we've talked about over the past 2 days and see how those might fit into that type of case.
Hey Darrell, talk to us about a couple of the panels maybe that you're looking forward to having at the conference.
Well, as Megan said, our panels are going to be made up of every side in a Qui Tam or a false claims case. So we're actually very excited about some of the panels that we have, which will actually go into some of the more meatier side of what we do as False Claims Act attorneys, whether it be defense or plaintiff. One of the panels that a lot of private bar attorneys are interested in would be our ability to pay panel on how the Department of Justice determines a defendant's or a target's ability to pay. And in fact, we will have the ability to pay guru Eileen Zimmer from the Department of Justice, who actually does the ability to pay analysis for the Department of Justice, come as a panel member to explain her process so that it really won't be a black box for somebody who comes to us with a claim that, look, I can't afford to pay a $20 million judgment. How can I still keep my business going and pay what I can to settle this case? And so Ms. Zimmer is there to explain that it's not that scary of a process, and that her process for evaluating, as well as answering questions. For instance, if somebody's got a question about what happens with the information that she receives about the target, if in case the settlement's not reached. Can the other side discover that, obtain that information and discover it? So those would be things to ask her. She can give you the answer.
So it sounds like to me that we're going to lift the curtain here. What's going on, right? And the whole ability to pay kind of analysis.
Yeah, I don't know if Department of Justice is happy about me doing that, but yes, we're doing that so that, like I said, so it's not such a scary proposition for a target.
Talk to me about maybe one of the other panels that we're kind of going to dig deep into. Maybe the Statistical Analysis panel, because I know that's a hot topic as an example.
Well, it is, and in fact, I think it's very much an up-and-coming topic with respect to false claims, and especially in the healthcare fraud type setting, where claims are sent in via computer once a week, once every 2 weeks, and there's just multiple claims. So I think that would be good for both the defense counsel, who's going to be facing a situation where either the government or a relator counsel is going to be attempting to prove a big dollar case by statistical sampling, Another part of that we're also going to be seeing is the use of algorithms, where we have the question about what constitutes a violation when we have just a whole morass or a whole pile of documents from which a party has to sit down and figure out how many false claims there are in there, not only the statistical sampling of valuing it, but actually figuring out and counting the numbers. So that has actually been used in several cases recently, and I've seen it in one of my cases, and I think that it's something that we're all going to have to be looking at and facing and understanding.
You know, one of the great things about that panel, I think that I'm looking forward to, is how we're dealing with the nuts and bolts of sampling. And I think we'll talk a little bit about the case law. The panelists will talk about the case law and the developments in the law there. But we have an expert, a statistician, that's going to be talking about, well, how do you set up a sample? What does that look like? And sort of giving some guide rails for practitioners, particularly on the relator side, and evaluation points from the defense side, as to what should you be looking for. And assuming we go down the route of having a statistical sample, what does that look like in terms of actual pulling the amount vis-a-vis another? And obviously every case is going to be different, but he can provide you some guidance there. And then, as Darrell said, the algorithms just increase significantly given the number of the claims involved. And so how does the algorithm process work? What do they do and what do they look at? And so I'm looking forward to hearing those sort of really detailed points.
Make the process maybe a little less scary for those of us who don't like math.
True, very true, very true.
Hey Darrell, talk to us about maybe the benefits of the conference. I mean, especially for government attorneys over this 2 days. Well, if I'm a government attorney, how do I make the case this is something that I should attend?
Well, I think it's important that government attorneys not do their job within the walls of their office the whole time. You have to understand and you have to know the people that we deal with, both on the defensive side, not only the relator side. I mean, we see relators often, we see some relator counsels more often than others, but we also have to meet defense counsel and understand them, because I don't like it when I'm presenting a case to the counsel for a target or to a defendant, and I don't know those folks very well, and there's this this cold wall between us. Versus if it's somebody that I know, we can really talk to each other, and we're able to be more relaxed in the way we talk to each other and share more information because that attorney trusts me, or I trust that attorney more because we know each other. And I think that's important here for the government attorney to get to know defense counsel as well and learn that they're not the enemy. Oftentimes they're just here to represent their client. We're here to find out, is there a case or not? And as we all know, more often than not, there's not a case that the government wants to take. And so we don't need to make that relationship an adversarial type relationship, and we can work together to reach that goal of determining if we need to intervene or not.
Got it. For those that maybe are watching and have been there last year, right? What can they expect that's maybe different about this year's conference from last year?
Well, last year's conference basically took a case from the cradle to the grave, and went through the whole process from pre-litigation or pre-filing all the way through the trial. This one, I think Megan and I decided we want to put a little more meat on the bone, so to speak, and go into more detail about what it is that an experienced litigator will be facing, and what would interest the more experienced litigators in this area. And that's why we decided to go into more complex areas of false claims that are one that, as an experienced litigator, you're going to see. You're going to run into them. And so I think this is one of those situations where we can help you understand, one, what the process is when you get these more complex cases, and two, where the resources are to help you find experts or any other type of assistance you need in preparing your case.
Because some of these experts will be on these panels.
Correct, and it'll help you understand, as Megan stated, like for instance, the statistical expert will explain how statistical sampling works. And that way, when you're talking to your expert and you're retaining an expert or looking for one, you'll know which ones you really want that are more in line with what the case law will allow. And so I think that's one of the things to look at out of this conference.
Megan, talk to us about our keynotes, because we got 2 of them
We do.
This year. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure, we're very excited for these 2 keynotes. We've secured the Associate Attorney General Jody Hunt, and we've also secured the Acting Inspector General for the Department of Defense, Glenn Fine. Both of them have just a spectacular reputation in this field, and they have both enthusiastically agreed to participate and provide keynote speeches, one on each day during the lunch sessions. So we're very excited to hear what they have to say and talk a little bit about the policies that they're looking at and just sort of the industry as a whole, and get their sense of where they see this going and where we can all work together to resolve these types of cases, as Darrell said, in the most efficient way possible.
So with Glenn Fine, this is probably someone that's, if we're filing a procurement type defense case, he's important to us.
Absolutely.
From the relator side and from the defense side.
Absolutely, yes. We should, I mean, at every level, someone high up in the enforcement realm is looking at these cases from a policy perspective. And so having the thought process of those key opinion leaders on what policies matter for what cases need to be brought, what cases need to be pursued is absolutely important for the practitioner.
It's just so quick. It's also important, and as Megan says, it's important because they are the ones. Everybody seems to think that the Department of Justice is the one who make the intervention decision, and that is true to a degree. We do seek the concurrence and consultation of General Counsel for the Inspector General's offices that we're working with. So it's good to get somebody from that perspective in on the case, so that people will understand. Again, another part that they're really not familiar with about the intervention of the investigation process for the government.
And with Jody Hunt, we should get a good perspective of where the department sees its enforcement going in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, having that level of insight and participation within the Department of Justice and being able to share that with our participants this year at the conference is just going to be a valuable takeaway for everyone. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what Jody has to say.
Megan and Darrell, thank you very much. We're looking forward to having all of you at this year's Qui Tam section annual conference on February 28th and on March 1st of 2019. Sign up at fedbar.org. We look forward to seeing you.
See you there.